So I'm back. I was just playing the second movement of the Haydn Trumpet Concerto, a fourth lower in F major and not in E flat major, or on the B flat trumpet, a fourth lower than would be played on the E flat keyed trumpet, to show the necessary and simple necessity of using dynamic contour when you play a high brass instrument, especially the trumpet or cornet, to maintain an equilibrium between the pressure from inside and pressure from outside. This maintains a fullness of tone and also promotes proper phrasing, as if you would sing. This is the way an opera singer sings. To try to do this in some other affected way, of really not concentrated and really, what the Germans call bewusst. The word is, I have no idea anymore. Been in Germany 43 years now. The necessity of making a crescendo when you're going up will maintain this equilibrium. And you have to do it consciously. That's the word. So now you know where the national anthem from Germany comes from, Joseph Haydn. So it's also from his Kaiser string quartet. But it's the same melody as the melody in the second movement of his concerto. How the concerto starts, I'll go back and play it in its original key. It's the same principle. Now you can hear it's very, very natural and simple. And everyone that listens to someone who plays the trumpet like that will go, aha, yes. The high notes don't sound strained. The high notes don't get smaller. They don't get weaker. I feel very at ease. It's the Germans would say selbstverständlich. It's obvious that this is the way that the music must be played. If you play this way, if you practice this way, starting from the basis of a crescendo and diminuendo in the lowest registers, when you're practicing technical and warming up studies by Clark or by any teacher, you will find that this allows you to maintain the equilibrium between the pressure of the mouthpiece and the pressure of the air. It makes it much easier to play fast also, because you're using the air instead of trying to play out of the embouchure, trying to use the face muscles. You can see my face muscles are doing almost nothing except maintaining a controlled formation of the aperture, forming the embouchure more forward when I go into the higher register and have to use more pressure from the mouthpiece to tighten up the skin. Many people think you tighten up the skin or the embouchure of your playing when you go into high register from the lips. You can only maintain so much pressure, and you can only tighten up so much of your facial muscles until they're cramped, and then that's it. Without pressure of the mouthpiece, my highest note is a sounding F. But as soon as I use the pressure of the mouthpiece, I can form the embouchure, maintain the vibration through the air counteracting the pressure of the mouthpiece that I need, start from this point on, need from this point on, going into the high register. Mouthpiece is too deep for a high E flat on the sounding B flat trumpet, but you can still hear with the crescendo and diminuendo the notes come. So going on, I played a little bit of the second study. This is the third study, which is the basis of all flexibility. Many people practice the instrument and think that they're developing their face muscles by practicing intervals. And they're doing calisthenics with their face muscles, and they're all concerned about their embouchure and whatever. It's not about that at all. It's wrong. Sorry. I don't care who told you something else. It's wrong. What you need to do is make a crescendo and diminuendo. And the flexibility comes even in the lowest register, which is the most difficult place to do this kind of thing from itself. Now, if I play higher, you can see it's exactly the same technique. Now, it doesn't say that because already in the third etudes here, in the third study, there is no crescendo and diminuendo. I've written a crescendo and diminuendo here for myself to remember and for my students when I work with them. Because it's absolutely necessary, even in the lowest range of the sounding instrument, to use this technique to increase the airflow and the pressure of the air. And here in etude number 3, if you can show it also again, Michael. It comes very, very easily if you make this crescendo and diminuendo movement. So this is not only a basis of how to maintain the vibration of the lips when you're going higher and higher, especially in the trumpet where the mouthpiece is flatter and you can it resonates better in the high register. With the deeper mouthpiece, the sound is quite different. It's very important that you understand that from the very beginning. Now I'm going to play, just to explain that a little bit more, to get a little bit of music into this specific YouTube, I'm going to play a little bit of the debutante, which I did with the piano before in a much earlier YouTube, but I was more concentrating on the interaction with the pianist and my playing than on the technique, and I think it's important. This is a piece called The Debutante, and I hope do I have a couple of more minutes? Okay, I'm going to try The Debutante, Caprice Brilliant from Herbert L. Clarke, John Philip Sousa's solo cornetist. I have a little bit of water on the instrument. Well, maybe I should play this cornet here. This is a Constellation cornet from 1963. The same instrument my father gave me for my 9th birthday. That's what I started on. There's a little bit more robust sound. Again, too much water in the instrument. What I'm trying to do is not impress you how I can play the instrument, but to explain to you how important it is for you, whether you're a professional or whether you're a student or a hobby musician, to understand the principles of equilibrium. The crescendo and diminuendo technique will allow you to play 3 times as long as you've ever played before, have more security in the high register, more flexibility, and a better sound. It's magic. If you forget to do this just once, you will realize that you start cracking notes, that you have starting to have trouble with your endurance and the tonal quality. If you try to play too long and don't develop these muscles with this equilibrium technique and using exercises like you can use directly from Clark or even in Arban, then you will realize that when you've forgotten that's really the only problem. Now, if I'm thinking about anything other than the music, if I'm thinking about anything technical when I play the trumpet or cornet, it only has to do with crescendo and diminuendo. If I keep just this simple principle, in a conscious way, then my playing becomes much more secure and the technique supports itself. It's just so simple that I'm sure that many of you will go, I knew that. Oh, I knew that. Well, if you did, then do it. Because this is the big difference. I hear people playing all the time, and the biggest problem is that they've forgotten this very simple principle, or were never taught or never thought about it themselves. And this is my gift to you now. I tell my students, this is the $100 lesson. If you really understand this and really apply this, you will find it'll improve your playing 100% immediately. And that's the whole idea of you watching some video of somebody who's talking about his instruments in his studio. How are you going to play better? Through having learned something or told to remember something that you knew anyway. So thanks for watching. And bye for now. We'll see you again when I play some more cornets in Richard Carson Steuart and The Man with the Horns.